CC family, it's Dawn Marie with Custom Comfy Crochet, and today we are going to learn how to do some sock dolls. And I've been seeing some videos floating around on Facebook and on Instagram how to make these, and you know how those videos are, they're like really quick, they make it look so easy. And so I thought, okay, I really want to try this and see if I can do it and see how easy it is. So the first thing we're going to do is get into what materials you need for this. Okay, so you have two different socks here. This one is a little animal sock that belonged to my daughter. It was a little koala, and it had little ears on it. I believe she got them at Walmart, and so I made this one especially for her. And so when I go into doing how to do this doll here, because this is the one I'm going to do today, it's exactly the same if you choose to do one of the animals. I just cut the little ears off the top and put into the hair. So that's the only difference. It's exactly the same. It just, this one already has a face on it, so it's really cool. But I'm going to show you how to do one of these in case you don't have the little animal socks. And so basically I have this little purple, I think these are dollar store socks, and actually they are dollar store socks, and it's just a different color than this one. And you're going to need stick pins. You're going to need thread and a needle, a sewing needle. You're going to need a pair of scissors. You're going to need a 4mm crochet hook. And you're going to need yarn that coincides with the colors of your socks. So we're going to be using white yarn white thread to go in and do the arms, the legs, and then we're going to use orange thread to do the hair, to sew the hair on. And then I'm using brown yarn for the eyes and pink yarn for the mouth. Okay, so I think that's pretty much it. I think that's all you'll need. Oh, and a darning needle. I used a smaller darning needle to do the eyes and the mouth on here, so it would make them a little bit bigger instead of using a sewing needle, okay, which is much smaller. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into this. So the first thing, let me get these little dolls out of the way. They're so cute. I think they're going to make great stocking stuffers, presents, stuff like that, craft fair. Just really cute little things that are easy and quick to make. And if you aren't really good at sewing, but you know how to sew, this is going to be great. But I'm going to show anyway. Okay, so I'm going to take my sock and I'm going to have it pointing, the heel pointing out and down. And then this usually has, if they're brand new, they've got a little line going right up the middle, okay, just like that. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with making the legs. So I'm going to cut right through the middle here, and I'm going to go right up, right about there. We'll go ahead and measure these are, you know, approximately 3 inches, okay? Just so you'll have an idea there. And after you cut that, you're going to turn your sock inside out. Okay? Just like that. And then I'm going to taper the corners here so that they don't look so pointy. So I'm just going to take my scissors and round them out just like this. And I really need a new pair of scissors. All my crafting scissors have been used for my kids and husband by other things that they shouldn't be used for. So anyway, but yeah, we're just going to round out these ends here just like this. And then you're going to take your thread that you want to use, and I'm using white for mine. And we're going to thread up a needle. I forgot to mention in the beginning of the materials list before we go on any further is you're going to need a piece of cardboard to measure out the hair. This is just the back of a composition book that I'm using that I cut out, and I'll show you how we use that later. And then you're also going to need some kind of stuffing or fiber fill. If you don't have any in your house, you could use an old stuffed animal or an old pillow, and you can use the stuffing from there if you wish. Okay, but I went ahead and got a needle threaded up with this white thread that I'm using. Okay, so all you're going to do is you're just going to sew around the legs here while it's inside out. So I'm just going to go right in and, you know, I'm going a little bit further in because the ends like to fray. And if you have a sewing machine, you could always use that, but this is such a small project, it's really not necessary. But you just, you know, go in and out. That's all I'm doing. And you're just going to do that for both sides. Turn this back inside out again. Well, it's not really inside out. We're turning it right back. I did want to show you, in case you're new to sewing, how to knot this off. So you're just going to go right into your last stitch, go through with your needle. You've got a loop there, and then you're going to go through that loop to make a knot. And I usually do that at least twice. And I go back through that same area, go through, and then make a knot. And that's how you close that off. So then we're going to cut this. And I'm going to put my needle over here so I don't lose it. And then you're going to turn this inside out. Okay. All right, so now we've got our legs, and see, that's still a little, so I need to go back in there and press my finger down in there. Just like that. Okay. So now we've got our legs, and so now what we're going to do is we're actually going to go ahead and stuff it now. Okay, so I want to show you, this has seemed to me the hardest part of this project. Like I said, it is super easy, but especially depending upon the sock that you have. A cheaper sock seems to be a little harder because it's probably not as well made, so it's not, the material isn't as thick. So you really want to use your hands, just like when you're making amigurumi with crochet, to mold these little sock dolls. So I'm just going to start with the legs first, and I'm going to take some stuffing, and I'm going to go down into this one leg and start stuffing it. Okay, and as you can see, and a lot of times it takes a lot more stuffing than you think it would to stuff stuff. Now, if you are using, if you're recycling in your home and using some stuffing from something else, like a pillow or an old stuffed animal, to make something new like this, which is a great idea, I've done it several times, that has already been packed in there, sometimes with machines. And so you really need, when you pull that kind out, you really need to do like this and tear it apart. This is the kind that you buy from the store though, so it's not as bad, but I still even like to pull it apart as well, because if you don't, it can get clumpy. So as you can see, I'm just, you know, continuously stuffing this. And just like amigurumi, you don't want to overstuff it, you don't want to understuff it, but you definitely don't want to understuff it. And that's the key with anything that you're stuffing. You know, but with something like this, you could technically overstuff it. I always say with my amigurumi, you couldn't overstuff it. But for this, you could, because crochet, when you're crocheting, you have so much, your yarn is thick and nice, and you've got a real good sturdy thing. But like I said, this is just very thin cotton material. And so, as you can see, look at that. It looks so lumpy. And right here, I've got a little bit of a break. So I'm going to try to really maneuver my stuffing in more into that leg. But see, this is the stuff that they don't show you on those wonderful little videos that you watch on Facebook or Instagram. You see these great little easy videos, and you're like, oh, that's so easy. But there are portions that because they've made them so quick and easy to watch, that you don't see. And that's like this, when you're trying to stuff something, and you know, what you have to do to make it look right. So it is going to take a little work to get this to look good. So I'm just going to continue stuffing this all the way up to the top. I like to stuff it until it looks like it's going to come out. And, you know, I use my hands and press this down in here, my fingers, just like that. So I'm going to go ahead and fill mine all the way up to the top, and you do yours too, and we'll meet back in just a minute. Okay, so we've stuffed our doll, and now we're going to go ahead and go around for the head. So you're going to put your hand around the very top, and that's where you're going to tie your thread around. Okay, so what I like to do is I'm going to take my white thread and I'm going to pull it out really far okay? And then I'm going to come back and I'm going to double it, just like you would double yarn or anything like that. I'm just doubling thread. Okay? So I've got this long double thread here, and then I'm just going to go right up here where I had my hand at, and you can see a little bit of an indentation. And I'm going to take this and I'm going to tie it just like that. And then I'm going to go around to the other side. And I'm going to tie it again. Just like this. And then I'm going to bring it back again. And I'm going to come around to the front. And this time I'm going to do 2. So 1 and 2 knots. Okay, just like that. And then I'm going to cut this off. Now, something I did for mine, as you can see, is I put some beads around here. Those are optional. I will put it in the materials list below, but it looks really good to put that around the neck to give it its finishing touch. Okay, so now we've got this done. We've got our legs done. So now we're going to close up the top of our head. So I'm going to show you how to do that. So let's go ahead and thread another needle with a lot of white yarn. It's actually white thread. I'm sorry, I keep getting those confused because I'm obviously usually doing crochet videos. So this is white thread. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how we're going to cinch this up. And it's very similar to sometimes how we do hats and crochet. So what we're going to do is we're just simply going to go in and out, in and out, just like that, all the way around, and then pull through. And if you guys crochet a lot, you'll know what I'm talking about. It's the same thing that you're doing, you're just using thread. So you're just going in and out all the way around. And as you can see, it's starting to cinch up. Okay, and I'm right here at the end, so I can go ahead and pull this tight. And as you can see, it's pulling it together. Now in the video, in the short little tiny video, she actually cut this edging on the top off, and you can do that if you want because it'll leave less of a, because this is the thicker right up here at the top of the sock. So you can cut that off if you'd like, but I didn't see the need to. So now we've just got this little tiny hole, and just like you do when you crochet, I'm just gonna go back and forth and close this up all the way. And the hair is going to cover this, so you're not gonna see it. So don't worry about that. So we'll just close that up and I'll meet you back in just a minute. With our head, and it looks a little funky, but like I said, the hair is going to cover this up. So now we're going to work on the arms. And so this is what the arms look like. So all you're going to be doing basically is going in and out of the sides to create the arm with your thread and needle, which is really cool. So I'm going to go right about right here, and I'm going to go far in into my doll, just like this. And I'm just going to keep going in and out, pulling tight. Not so tight that you pull out your needle though, like I just did. But basically just in and out, and try to find, you know, that space in the back. If you need to, you could always use a pencil and draw this if that would help you better. But I'm just going to go in and out, creating the arm. So all the way down. And it just gets a little bit smaller as you go. Excuse me. So just like a person, up here your shoulder is bigger and then it tapers off. So as you can see, I'm just going back and forth. And I will say this, the lady in the video, she really got a great looking little hand going on just by going back and forth with the sewing, but she doesn't really show how she does it. So I just kind of keep going down, like I said, till it kind of tapers itself. And then when I get down here to the bottom, I kind of go around like this. So instead of going back in, I'm going around just to give it that end look for the hand. So you see, it creates like that little thing right there. And then I'm just gonna go back in and out just for a second. Just like this. Okay. And that's how you do the arms. Now, if you want this indentation to be bigger, you can just take your thread. Sorry, I'm hitting my camera. You can just take your thread and go right back up to the top. Because it doesn't, to me, I don't think I got as good as I would like to up here. So I'm just gonna go up and go over that spot a little bit more. And you can kind of just look at the back to see that you're coming out of the right space. Just like this. Okay, and then I'm going to pull a little bit, and that's going to make that a little bit tighter, and then I may go back in there again to make that a little bit tighter there. And then we're going to go and you're going to do the exact same thing for the other side, okay? And then when you're done, all you're going to do, and I'm going to fix this right here real quick because I want to show you how I knot off. Okay, so I'm going to pull that, straighten that out a little bit. So I'm going to turn around here to the back of my doll. And I'm just going to go in right here. And I'm going to do a knot just like you would if you're sewing or sometimes crocheting. So I'm going to do a knot. And then I'm going to go right into my doll. And we do this a lot for amigurumi for crochet. And I'm just going to go in and out the same place and pull over here. And then I'm going to cut this off. Okay, so do your other side exactly like we just did this side, and then we'll meet back up together. I went ahead and finished up both arms, and if you can tell, this one looks a little bit different. I made these arms a little bit fatter and these a little smaller, so it's all up to what you wanted. I just wanted to see what it would look like if I did them a little bit bigger. So now we're going to move on, and we're going to start with the hair, okay? So I'm going to put the doll out of the way, and now we're going to pull out our piece of cardboard, all right? And I'm just using this orange yarn I have for the hair, but you can use any color that you wish. And you're going to start off by wrapping your yarn around this piece. And so then in this first wrap that you did, you're going to go ahead and tie this off, okay? So I'm going to do 2 ties here. And that's okay because we're going to cut it later. And then you're just going to, the whole width of this cardboard, you're going to take your yarn and wrap it. Okay, so you're just going to wrap your yarn back and forth the whole width of this piece of cardboard. Okay, and then you can push it down just like that, and then you're going to keep wrapping. Okay, just like this. So you keep doing that all the way, the width of, like I said, the width of the cardboard. Keep wrapping whatever color yarn that you're using, and then we'll meet back up again and I'll show you how to finish it. So I've wrapped my yarn all over this piece of cardboard here, and for this, I probably would have done a little bit more. Honestly, I like a lot of hair on these dolls, but for the sake of the video, I just kind of finished it off there. But now what we're going to do is we're going to crochet the very top of the thread here. And I'm going to make this first piece really long so it can flow in with the hair. And I'm going to make a slip knot, okay? So this is where our crochet skills come into play. So you're right up here at the top, and you're going to slip knot all these into place. So I'm going to do 2 at a time because there's so many. And I'm going to pull this in, and I'm going to do a slip stitch, just like that. And then I'm going to go around the next 2. pull it through under, do a slip stitch, and again, go under the next two, pull through, and do a slip stitch, just like this. And some of mine is coming off, that's okay. I would prefer it to stay on, but it's kind of hard to do on camera. So you're just gonna go all the way down, and I'm pulling 2 at a time to make it easier, but you can do 1 at a time if you wish. And I'm just going right under, pulling the yarn under there, and then doing a slip stitch, and that's gonna hold it all into place. So you just keep doing that all the way down, preferably keeping your yarn on your piece of cardboard, and then we'll meet back up again when you get to the end. So we've slip stitched all the way down to gather all our yarn together, and I'm just going to cut off our working piece of yarn here that we've been working with. I'm going to make it kind of long so it flows in with the hair, and then right here where I did my last slip stitch, I'm just going to pull through and knot off just like that. Okay, and so then here at the bottom, the other side, you're going to take your scissors and you're just going to cut all the way down, just like this. Just like that. And then you can pull that off, and you have a nice little miniature wig for your doll, okay? And then you can comb it out. If there's any pieces that came out, you can even it out at the bottom, because there are going to be some pieces that are longer than the other, but I like to actually do that at the end, okay? So now we've got this ready. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our doll, and this is where we're going to use our little stick pins, okay? So I'm going to place the hair right over that top portion there, and I'm going to go around just like this, okay? So I'm going to take my stick pins to hold this in place. And it just kind of frames the face. And then I want that to come back a little bit. So I'm going to put one there. And then I'm going to come over to the other side. I put one there. And then I'm going to put one right there. Okay, so now we've got this going all around the face. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to thread my needle with the yarn, or the thread that matches this hair, whatever hair color you're using. So I'm going to pull out some orange thread, and I'm going to do up a needle, and I'll meet you back in just a minute. Thread it onto our needle, and we're literally just going to go right around, and we're going to sew this into place, and we're going to go right through those slip stitches we made right along the edge here. And it gives a real nice little Cabbage Patch doll look. And I'm trying to go pretty close to where you won't see the stitches. You can see that one right there. But if you get right underneath it and get as close as you possibly can, you can hide those stitches. So you're just going to go all the way around, just like this, working in your hair, your little doll wig. Okay, so you go all the way around and work yours in, and then I'll meet you back up and I'll show you how to tie up the hair and how to do the face. All the way on and around, and I've got it in a ponytail in the back, so I've just gathered it together in the back and made a ponytail. And then I'm going to take a piece of yarn that is the same color, and you can position your ponytail any way that you'd like. I'm just going to do it to the back. Oh, I'm going to try. It's kind of hard to do on camera, but I would like to do it kind of high So I'm going to try to get it around here. And you can use your fingers as kind of like a little brush for your yarn. And then just take this and do a little knot. Just like this. Just like that. And it'll just kind of flow in with the hair. And then what I would do is I'd just lay my yarn out flat. And you know, hair a lot of times has different lengths in it anyway. So I'm just going to cut right across the bottom here with my horrible scissors. Gotta get some scissors. Just one of those things I haven't gotten around to yet. And just cut these off to where they're even. And then you've got a gorgeous little ponytail, just like that. And then I would hold it up, and then I might cut some more off the back again. Okay, so now we're going to do the face. And what you're going to do is you're going to take this brown yarn that I told you about in the beginning here that you would need for your materials. And now I'm going to take a darning needle, okay? And I'm just going to pull my yarn back. So I only have one thread of it in the middle, okay? So you see that? I'm pulling it back, and this is not something you would normally want to do, but that's what I want. I just want that much. I don't want it to be very thick. Okay, so let me find my darning needle. So I'm using a smaller darning needle. Okay, so you have the big plastic ones, you have these that are much bigger, that are metal, and I'm using this smaller one right here, okay, because I don't want to make huge holes in my doll. Okay, and so then I'm just going to pull this down, get, you know, quite a bit of this one little thread of yarn here. And this is what we're going to do the eyes with, okay? So I've got it doubled. So I'm going to go right in over here, and this is, like I said, similar to the amigurumi. I'm going to go right in over here by the hair, and I'm going to pull in, but I'm not going to pull too hard because that's going to be hid inside my doll, okay? And then I'm going to just go in once, and then I'm going to go over this way. Just like that. And there's one eye, just that simple. And then I'm going to go over here, and when I go in here, it's going to make the eye, and then I'm going to go out through the hair, just like that. And there is another eye. So it's very easy, just like that. And then you can pull them with your needle to make them thicker or tighter. So I'm going to pull that in just a little bit, and then I'm going to poof it out just a little bit, just like that. So they look pretty even. Okay, so that's the way I'm going to do it. And I think that one's a little bit lower than this one. So if you wanted to, you could use stick pins to put into place to guide you. Okay, so then I'm just going to go right back in right here where I went in with, and then I'm going to go back out the other side. And then that way that will never go anywhere. And then I'm going to cut really close, and that'll go back into the hair. Okay, so now we're going to do the little mouth, and it's the same thing, same concept, except I'm using a pink yarn. And this is actually kind of a nylon yarn, but it was the only pink that I liked that I wanted to use. But it's the same thing. You're just going to take a piece of it. And this one actually, because it's nylon, has a bunch of different threads with it. So I'm going to go ahead and get this on off camera because it may take a minute to get it through, and then I'll come right back and show you how to do it. We've got our pink on our darning needle, so I'm going to come right over here into the hair again. So we're going to hide it back here, and then I'm just going to come right here, right in between, you know, my eye area. I'm going to pull that in, but not too tight, and then I'm just going to go out this way. And then go back again. And one more time. And then in and out like that. And then I'm just going to go right back in and out through the hair again. Just like this. And now we've made a little mouth. Okay, so then I'm going to cut off over here. And you have a completed doll. Now you can add clothes to these. You could do little crocheted clothes. You could do little sewing clothes, whatever you want to do. But I'm going to raise up my camera so I can show them all to you. So these are our completed dolls. And one thing I did off camera is I did string some beads. So I just used a needle and thread, did a knot at the end, and I used some beads that I had laying around and put it right there around the neck. And then for this koala bear one, I just tied a piece of yarn around. Okay, so remember I told you at the beginning, this has worked exactly the same way as these, except I cut the ears off the top of the sock and then worked them into the front of the hair. Okay, so that's the only difference. If you want to use one of the animal socks, you can, but they are so cute. I love them so much, and I hope you love them. If you get a chance to do one and you want to share a picture with me, I would love that. You can find me on Instagram, Facebook, and I have an email, and all that's in the description below. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask. Please like, share, and subscribe, and I hope everyone is staying safe, healthy, and wearing their masks. I will see you again soon. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.